Every company wants to be able to create the Netflix of gaming. We have Google and Microsoft and Sony all trying to get in on this market and create something that everyone is going to find interest in, that everyone is going to want to play games on at a fairly low cost every month. But now Amazon is trying to get into the market with the newly announced Amazon Luna. And I'm always hopeful when it comes to new services. I'd be happy with a pretty low cost way to play games without having to purchase them individually. But Amazon's Luna is really bizarre, and I honestly think that this is going to be dead on arrival. So I'm going to be referencing a Verge article. Amazon's Luna cloud gaming service sounds an awful lot like the cable of video games. Amazon revealed its new cloud gaming service, officially called Luna, at its annual Alexa hardware event today. That makes it an immediate competitor to Google's Stadia, Microsoft's xCloud, Sony's PlayStation Now, and a number of other services for major game publishers, all eager to try the code on how to stream video games over the internet. But in a revealing interview with Protocol published after the event, Amazon's Mark Whitten, the company's vice president of entertainment devices and services, clarified one of the most vital questions around Luna that wasn't answered during the reveal. What's the business model? And from what we can glean from the interview, it's looking a whole lot like the cable of video games, for better and for worse. I find it interesting that they didn't officially announce the business model during the event if they were just going to talk about it during interviews. I think that that's pretty bizarre and honestly a little bit sketchy in my opinion, that they won't talk about it during the event that hundreds of thousands of people are watching, but they'll talk about it after they've already gained people's interest in the product. Whitten tells Protocol that Luna won't follow the Stadia model, which is free but requires users to pay for individual games to stream on the platform. Well, I'm glad that they're not following the same business model as something that's already failed. Continuing on the article, though, you may also pay for Stadia Pro to get 4K streaming, access to a small but growing library of free titles, and other perks. It's also not following the xCloud model, which is bundled into Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass subscription as a free add-on for the Ultimate tier. That arrangement lets you stream any of the 100+ games that are on the Game Pass platform, but only to an Android device right now. Instead, Luna will offer individual channels for partner publishers, modeled similarly to the Amazon Channels platform, which lets Prime subscribers add individual TV streaming service subscriptions as add-ons, all bundled into one monthly payment managed by Amazon. These channels will be priced differently and will seemingly come with differences in perks and restrictions, although details are slim at the moment. The service will officially launch sometime soon in early access for a small number of users, with just 2 channels to start. Putting something into a beta, an early access, with only 2 channels when you're trying to get people interested in it doesn't seem like a good idea, in my opinion at least. The first channel will be an Amazon-branded one called Luna Plus, which sounds a little bit like Stadia Pro in that it offers 4K streaming and unlimited hours of play, but it goes further by offering access to dozens of games, all for $5.99 a month. It's not clear what the games list will look like beyond the early slate of confirmed titles, including Resident Evil 7 and Control, but the model already gives Luna a slight edge over Stadia by not requiring subscribers to pay for most of the titles they want to play. In fact, it doesn't appear that Luna will let users pay for any games at all, right now at least. It looks like you'll have to subscribe to a channel to access anything on the platform. The second channel will belong to a major game publisher, Ubisoft, which is offering the same perks as Luna Plus, although Ubisoft is restricting users to 1 stream per account instead of the 2 allowed on Amazon's channel, and presumably access to most, if not all, of the company's vast library. Amazon won't say what the Ubisoft channel will cost, but it may be priced higher than Luna Plus and more in line with Uplay Plus, which is $14.99 $9.99 subscription service Ubisoft introduced last year. Now, the reason why this won't work is because it's exactly like cable. When you have cable and you add on all of these services, your bill gets extremely high extremely fast, and this sounds like it's going to be the same exact way. This is going to add up to all be pretty damn expensive, and I don't think that any one publisher has enough in their catalogs to keep most gamers satisfied with only one subscription. And when those same gamers start looking at how much it would be to hold multiple subscriptions, no one's going to do it. I think that the general public has less of an understanding of gaming services and platforms compared to video-on-demand streaming services, and we already see that with tons of those services struggling, and some of them are brand new. Because of the lack of understanding by people, having all of these gaming services suddenly pop up is going to be pretty confusing for a lot of people. And in a situation like this, there's three big names that people will always recognize for gaming: Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, which instantly puts PlayStation Now and xCloud many steps ahead of the rest, and in a cloud of confusion, when a child says, "Hey, I want a gaming streaming service," to their parents aren't going to go to Amazon or Google. They are going to choose a service from one of the big three. Continuing on with the article though, you'll see other channels over time, Witten told Protocol. He added that game publishers are pretty excited about this idea. It's unclear how, say, indie games or titles from mid-sized publishers that may not be able to support a full-fledged Luna channel will be added, or if that's why Luna Plus exists. That's kind of what I was thinking. There aren't enough games from a lot of publishers that are going to keep people interested in only having one subscription. So if Luna Plus can offer a vast array of games from AAA developers to indie developers, I think that it could work, but we don't know how many games that Luna Plus is going to have and how popular Luna Plus itself is going to be. The article does go on to mention the whole Nvidia GeForce Now situation that happened recently. This all seems to be great for game publishers eager to monetize a new distribution channel, but it may be a bit of bad news for gaming fans hoping models more like Nvidia's GeForce Now would become the norm. Nvidia's model lets you play games you already own via a Valve Steam Marketplace on a number of screens, including a Mac or Android phone. But the service was initially met with fierce opposition from game publishers when it exited beta, and Nvidia began charging for it earlier this year, mostly because some of the publishers didn't appear to give their express permission to Nvidia to stream their IP from a cloud server. Many publishers have since opted back into Nvidia's platform, following some of the high-profile departures, like Activision Blizzard and Take-Two Interactive. But the GeForce Now situation illustrated how the biggest game makers in the industry see the benefit of cloud gaming as primarily a way to sell games to new customers or access to games via a subscription, and less of a way to give existing ones more ways to play the titles they already own. Cloud gaming is still in its infancy, of course, and every major player is experimenting with the business model to find out what sticks. With the introduction of Luna and Amazon's channel-based approach, we're seeing yet another gamble on how the future of game distribution will be structured. Although this time, Amazon is following a successful template in how much of television is bundled and sold on the internet today. Now, looking at other models, as long as Microsoft can keep getting desired titles onto Game Pass, then xCloud is still the more desirable model because for one fee, they're giving you access to hundreds of games plus the ability to purchase whatever new game that isn't being offered on the service individually, and it just doesn't sound like that's the plan for Luna. It seems like Stadia kind of has a business model, and Amazon almost has a complete opposite model, and everyone should want something somewhere in between with a service like xCloud or PlayStation Now. Now, Amazon could be trying to bundle this with Prime, but it doesn't really sound like they're doing that, at least at the beginning. I don't think that they need Luna to be successful or expect it to be at first. But, you know, every company wants to make money, every company wants things to be successful, but I do think that they're playing the long game here. This is something they might be willing to sit on and really build up their catalog of channels over time, and eventually it could be great, but who really knows? Also, we don't know how the marketing for this is going to be, so we have no clue where they really want to aim this, if they want to aim this at avid gamers or if they want to aim it at casual gamers. Now, even though Google and Amazon are large companies, they're not traditionally game companies, they're not experienced game companies, so they're at an automatic disadvantage here. Ultimately, I've said before that I do think cloud gaming just isn't going to be popular for a long time, part of that having to do with access to internet, but I just don't see how viable any of these services are going to be that can't offer new games on day one, along with access to cheap back catalogs. But if we get any more information on Luna, I will definitely let you all know, but that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and share it, and of course if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.